Hi, I'm Josh.
And I'm Zach.
For our senior research project, our topic was over immigration in Ohio.
The problem with immigration is that the public always has a negative outlook on immigration. This ranges from immigrants stealing jobs from Americans, coming to America illegally, coming to America with terroristic intentions, and illegal immigration costs American taxpayers millions of dollars on border patrol that could be spent elsewhere.
It's an important issue to talk about because due to the upcoming presidential election, news outlets are shedding a negative light on the subject. News outlets are causing many Americans to forget that America is a country that is built upon immigrants and allows everyone a free opportunity to succeed in the American dream. This is important because America is a country that is meant for refugees to come here to start over, but right now many Americans think that immigrants are ruining America.
We are interested in this issue because due to the negative response that is in the news outlets, we wanted to discover for ourselves how immigrants are actually affecting the society and culture around us in America and even here in Ohio.
People need to learn about the true facts behind immigration rather than focusing on what news outlets are reporting. Throughout our research, we focused on learning the actual facts rather than going to news sources because immigration is a big part of America and it affects a lot of people's lives.
There has always been immigration in America, and that is what our nation is built upon. Just recently, immigration has become a problem to many citizens mainly because of economic, political, and social issues that continually keep being brought up, like taking jobs away from U.S. citizens, what the next president will do, and terrorist threats. These affects not just the adults, but it also affects the kids that are born here and stay here while their family gets deported back, and how we should handle these situations.
We interviewed Karina Hardy Morrison from CRIS, which is an organization that helps immigrants and refugees relocate here in the United States. One of the questions we asked her was, what flaws do you see in the process of becoming a citizen here in the United States? Her response was the initial reception placement period, which is the first 90 days after a refugee has settled here, because there's so much that has to be done in those first 90 days, which makes it overwhelming for the refugees. There are 3 phases of trauma for a refugee. First one is having to leave your home country and then live in a host country where they aren't really recognized as anything. They might not be able to get a job or live in a refugee camp, which is also a traumatic experience. Then there's the resettlement process, self-sufficiency, realize what someone has gone through a lot of trauma. And this is the area where we need to pay more attention to.
This shows that the first 90 days that immigrants are here in the United States are the hardest for them. And due to the circumstances that news outlets have shined on immigration doesn't help. Immigrants need the support from their new community, and quite frankly, they are not getting the help that they desperately need.
People have attempted to combat the negativity that the news only focuses on. They do this by writing their own articles and doing their own research and back up their articles with this research that they have done. The only problem is that the articles and sources that these people write don't get viewed enough, so many people don't know about them as if a news article were to publish it.
CRIS, the Community and Refugee Immigration Services, and here in Columbus, Ohio, has shown creativity through the form of welcome kits. These welcome kits are kits put together by people and are for refugees who come to America. The kits consist of kitchenware, clothes, furniture, toiletries, and basic household necessities. These kits are very helpful to the new immigrants because it takes the stress off of them for getting these basic needs while they are trying to become a citizen within the first 90 days. It helps bring comfort because it lets them know that society is there for them. Just recently, a woman who was trying to sell her house decided that she would get better use out of it if she donated it to CRIS to give to a Syrian refugee family.
Our interview at CRIS was very helpful. When we first got to the CRIS office, we were given a tour of the facility to further our understanding of what goes on at CRIS to help refugees. Basically, it is a school with 2 grades. One grade consists of parents and kids, and if their kid is under the age of 18, and the other grade consists of families that have no kids or kids that are older than the age of 18. These classes are relatively the same. They teach a basic English class that helps refugees with words that they will use to help get them jobs and operate in America. And the coolest part about these classes is that students are from all different backgrounds. They speak different languages and they're all dedicated to learn how to speak English all at the same time so they can start their lives on their own in America. They also contain a study hall to help kids with their homework from primary school, and counselors are also working with the refugees and other companies to help them find jobs, fit into society, and help them on their 90-day journey of filling out all the paperwork, finding them housing, and a means of transportation.
These questions worked for us very well. One reason these questions work so well is due to the people we interviewed. They were very intrigued on answering the questions along with providing factual information when doing so. They also answered each question in depth enough to answer a few of our other questions that we had.
For our action, we went down to the CRIS office, which CRIS stands for Community, Refugee, and Immigration Services. There we took a tour of the facility and met with Karina Hardy Morrison and conducted an interview with her. From there we learned from her about the welcome kits and that CRIS was having a 5K in order to raise money for awareness for immigrants and refugees. We decided for our action to volunteer and work during the 5K. One problem we saw in our action research that we could have done better was that we didn't get to see the actual welcome kits get delivered to new refugees or to help them move into their new homes. Instead, we only got to raise money that goes towards buying items that go into these welcome kits.
In our research, we primarily focused on the positive side of immigration rather than the issues that arise with this topic.
One of the things we found is that more than half of immigrants work in low-skilled jobs. In our interview that we conducted over email with Dr. Capps, who studies immigration here in America, he went as far to say as young immigrants rarely hold good jobs.
Our analysis shows that the immigrants aren't taking jobs away from us. Rather, they are taking any jobs that they can find in order to support their family. These also help boost the economy because it fills jobs that are needed in society, but no one is willing to do them because they are very labor intensive or it doesn't pay well enough. Because new refugees are in need of a means of cash, we found that they are typically choose to work in these labor intensive low paying jobs because they do not require a high level of education and are easy to pick up.
This information helped inform us that the problem lies with what the public believes rather than what is actually happening. The misconception of the public thinking immigrants stealing their jobs really comes from the news media only focusing on the negative impacts of immigration instead of the positives, and this leads to the public believing things that may not even be true. Like we found out through our research that immigrants are not stealing our jobs, rather they are fulfilling jobs that are vacant.
Both the immigrants and refugees, but more importantly than that is the people in the community that the refugees and immigrants move to. The people in these communities help immigrants and refugees, whether it be for donations or just simple things as in showing them where the grocery store is.
The reason we chose this group for our audience is because we found out through our research that immigrants and refugees really need the help and support of the community around them.
Our audience changed as we did our research. We found out through our research that we needed to focus on explaining that immigration is a good thing and that it actually helps the economy instead of hurting it like most of the public thinks. Through this, we found out the true problem lies in the public's belief that immigration negatively impacts our economy.
You can help new refugees by donating money to CRIS to help buy items that go into welcome kits for the new refugees. You can donate by going to www.crisohio.org and clicking the donate button located on the top of the home screen.